All right, we'll go ahead and get started since this is going to be recorded. So if people join in on later, they can see that when we send it out. But hi everyone, thanks for joining. Welcome to the second Proscope webinar series, The Power of Precise Project Estimating. So without further ado, let's get started. Just for introductions, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Katie Clark. I'm the solution consultant at Proscope for our North America unit. And a brief background on myself, prior to Proscope, I was a solution consultant at Oracle NetSuite. And there I was really able to establish my core NetSuite knowledge and build upon my construction industry knowledge as well by working with our customers in that vertical. And so now at Proscope, I work with company leaders to understand their business practices and related bottlenecks to provide solutions. And often estimating is a key topic of these discussions. So we'll dive into that in more detail today. Speaking of today, this is what we're going to be going over. So for our agenda, we're going to start off with what causes estimates to be incorrect. So really the root cause of the problem. And then job estimation in NetSuite with Proscope as a solution. And then we'll take a look live in the system about how that looks with Proscope for NetSuite. And then we'll have a discussion about frequently asked questions and open up the floor for some Q&A and then wrap up. Right. So to start, these are the top 3 causes that we see most frequently that are the root of inaccurate estimates. So the first being manual entries and calculations. And this is really stemming from human errors in data input and calculations that can significantly impact the accuracy of estimates. The second is using inaccurate or stale data. So outdated or inaccurate data or information that leads to flawed estimations, emphasizing the importance of real-time data. And then finally, siloed records used by various resources. So when different teams or departments operate with isolated records, it creates discrepancies in the data used for estimation. But whatever the reason may be for the incorrect estimate, all incorrect estimates can have far-reaching consequences, and that can affect strategic decisions, resource allocation, and project planning, and really the success of the project down the line. So recognizing and addressing these challenges is crucial for enhancing the accuracy of our estimates and making informed decisions for the business overall. So now we'll address the solutions to those problems by leveraging NetSuite with Proscope to optimize that estimating process. So the first is accuracy and efficiency through automation. So Proscope is going to help achieve this by unparalleled accuracy by automating those repetitive tasks and calculations. And to do this, we're going to implement automated workflows for seamless operations and also leverage Proscope's integration with NetSuite to streamline processes. The second is real-time data visibility. So gaining a competitive edge with the power of real-time insights, and doing this by ensuring timely decision-making with instant access to up-to-date and real-time data, and then also enhancing NetSuite's capabilities for dynamic real-time reporting. And finally, having a user-based system with a clear audit trail. This is really going to foster accountability and traceability within your organization. So Proscope is going to be able to tailor user access to align with roles and responsibilities, as well as provide a transparent record of system activities through the audit trail. So now we'll go ahead and dive into our demonstration portion of the presentation. But before we get into the system, I wanted to give some background on exactly what we'll be covering today. So this process flow you see here shows Proscope's core project lifecycle from creation to live. Today, we'll be focusing mostly on the estimate stage of this process. So in the demo, you're about to see the opportunity and the project have already been created. So we'll pick up from there by using the job costing estimator tool to really help us create the estimate line items. And then once those line items have been added, we'll also take a look at the quote PDF designer so you can see how we can customize the appearance of the customer-facing quote. And also one thing I just want to clarify is I might use the terms quote and estimate interchangeably, but I'm both referring to the same document in areas in Proscope/NetSuite. So just wanted to clarify any confusion there. But with that, let's get into the system. Let me just pull up my screen. All right. Just want to make sure that everyone can see my screen now that I'm in Proscope/NetSuite.
Yeah, we can see it, Katie.
Perfect. All right. Thanks. All right, so I am now logged in as myself, the project manager in Proscope/NetSuite. And just as a refresher, Proscope is a native NetSuite application that takes on the whole life cycle of the project from beginning to end. So there's only going to be one login and everything is on one system, which makes everything easier. And since we're still on the NetSuite platform, you're going to be getting all the benefits of NetSuite's dashboard capabilities, including the ability to easily configure your dashboard portlets on a user basis and see everything in real time. And one of those portlets that we're going to be talking a lot about or referencing today is going to be our project launchpad. And this is going to give a more detailed overview into all the outstanding projects that a company might be working on or that the user that's logged in may be assigned to as the project manager. And additionally, direct shortcuts, like you see here, are going to be to key stages of the project management lifecycle, like creating an estimate, reserving requisitions, creating invoices, et cetera. But today we're going to be focusing again on just this estimate portion here. So we're going to be clicking into, we're going to, again, as a refresher, we have already created the opportunity and the project record. So we're going to be picking up here where we left off at the estimate process. So we're going to click into the costing estimator shortcut to start adding the line items to our estimate. All right, so now that we're at the job costing estimator, just kind of as a whole, this is going to be a powerful tool that's built into NetSuite/Proscope that allows you to accurately estimate the costs associated with your projects. So this is going to enable you to break down project costs by line items that are tied to Proscope activity codes. And just as a refresher, NetSuite project tasks are going to be your work breakdown structure. So that's going to be everything that's related to project management, planning, resource management, whereas Proscope activities are going to be linked to those project tasks. And that's going to serve as your schedule of values and drive all the accounting on the back end. So we're going to add, today we're going to go through an example of adding materials, services/labor, and then also a rental asset to each activity code, and then see how that ties together all in the final estimate. So we'll go ahead and start with our materials. So we'll select the activity code that we want to tie those materials to. So we'll just go with division 1. And we'll do once we select that and select our material subtab, we'll go ahead and add an inventory item. We'll do an overall search. So if we put 3 percentage signs and do a search, it'll populate an entire list of all the inventory items that we have. We can do, of course, a more tailored search, which we'll see an example of shortly, but just wanted to show you that so you can see everything that you have to work with. And for this, we're going to go ahead and just for our example here, we're going to add 5 junction boxes, let's say. So once we add these selected items, after you select the item and the quantity, the estimator is going to automatically calculate the total estimated cost. So that's going to take into account any predefined formulas, pricing rules, discounts, or markup percentages that you've set up. And that's really going to eliminate the need for any manual calculations, which again is going to save you that time and reduce any chances of errors. And also at this point, we can make further edits. So if we need to change the unit cost for any reason, or we need to change the markup price, we can definitely do so at this stage as well. So you have that flexibility to make changes. So now that we've added an inventory item or something that we're reserving from stock or we're ordering for stock, we can also add non-inventory items for purchase. So these are going to be, again, lower value items that might not need to track the details of, but still need to order on a per project basis. So instead of having a full list of everything, we can look for something specific like permit, let's say. So once we do a search for that, it'll populate our permit and we can add the quantity that we need, add those selected items. And then here we can edit the price for that non-inventory item. All right. So we'll go ahead and make those saves for the inventory and non-inventory items. And once those been saved, that's going to be added to our final estimate and also kick off the procurement process for those inventory and non-inventory items by reserving them from stock or creating applicable POs or purchase orders. But procurement is going to be a topic that we dive into more detail about in a future webinar. So we'll put a pin in that for now. But perfect. So now we've added our inventory, non-inventory materials. Now we can go ahead to our services aspect of our estimate. So we'll go ahead and select a different activity code, let's say site work that we need labor for. We'll go ahead and select our services subtab, and then we'll go ahead and do a search similar to the initial one. Again, you can do a tailored search as well, but just want to show you the different options here. So we'll go ahead and select the type of labor that we're looking to add on our estimate. And once we add that labor item, we can then designate the amount of hours that we need for that labor rate. So again, that labor rate is going to be automatically tied to that service item from the NetSuite service record. So that's all going to be automated for you here. Perfect. All right, so now that we've made saves to our services, we've added materials, we can also go ahead and add assets that we're looking to rent for this project. We'll go ahead and save that and go into our assets. This is going to be, we're going to do a search from our Proscope asset records. So we'll go ahead and do a search. For this example here, we'll just say that we want to add a crane for hire, and we want to rent that for 10 days. So we can either enter the days and quantity of the items that we're renting here, or we can also do that once we are about to save it in the estimate. So we'll go ahead and make an edit. We'll say that we want to rent this for 7 days. And once we make that edit, it'll automatically populate the dates. And of course, you can adjust these as needed. And it'll automatically take in the unit cost and calculate that for you. So we'll go ahead and save that as well. Right. All right. All right. So now that we've added these line items individually, and they've all been added to the final estimate, you also have the option to update, make these updates of line items in bulk. So above here, at the job costing estimator portion, download, upload, this is where you can download a budget template and set it up in Excel and then import this information via CSV file. We'll see some screenshots of that shortly so you can get a visual of what that looks like. And also wanted to note that Proscope is going to support change orders as well. So if you need to make any additions or deductions after processing that initial estimate, you can make and track those changes within Proscope. And change orders for labor and materials are simply just a specialized activity code that's created and assigned per that change order. That's going to track all the estimate or changes for estimating and reporting. And those change orders are just going to be specific and go through a specific level or initial level of approval from the project manager that are then processed. And we're going to be focusing on core estimating process today, so I won't walk through that process step by step, but it's extremely similar to what you'll see here. It's just adding a separate change order specific activity task and having that be designated for those change orders and those line items that are tied. So now that we have all our line items for this estimate, we can go back to our project record. So again, we can access everything is going to be accessed, or everything is going to tie up to the project record as a single source of truth. So we can go to the project record. and actually create the estimate and how it's going to appear customer facing. So now that we're at the project record, we can go about creating the estimate. So you'll see that the project values are being recalculated. This is simply because those line items from the job costing estimator tool that we added are going to be updated once it's refreshed. Perfect. All right, so we'll go ahead and create a new quote or proposal directly from our project record here. So you'll see that this is going to be it's going to take all of our line items that we had from the job costing estimator, and it's automatically going to populate them here in our native quote, in our native NetSuite estimate / quote. So we're going to go ahead, and now that we have the actual line items, we might want to go and see exactly how this is going to appear customer facing. So to do that and be able to customize how it looks, we can go into our quote PDF designer. And this quote designer is a Proscope custom tool, and it's going to allow you to customize the appearance of customer facing estimates. So this is where you can add various elements to your quotes, such as product images, descriptions, diagrams, pricing tables, terms and conditions, personalized messages, really anything that's in a template format. And all of this is going to be click, not code, so it's extremely easy to make changes and user-friendly. So for example, you can drag and drop here, visible versus hidden columns to designate what's going to be actually presented on the estimate. And additionally, once you've finalized how you want this quote to look, you can save it as a template. So above here, you'll see all of our template options. And once you save it as a template, that way, if you have similar projects in the future, you're not starting from scratch every time. So you can select the template you'd like to use and make any further edits from there. So just all in all, this tool is a really efficient way to just make sure you're presenting your estimates with intention based on your customer or project type. So now that we've seen the quote PDF designer, want to go back to our initial estimate. And once we save this estimate, you'll kind of see as everything loads, how everything's going to set based on its line item type, the rest of the process into motion. So you'll see that the asset rental for our crane is being processed, as well as the resource allocation for our services was created, and the procurement process was kicked off for the inventory and non-inventory items. So a lot of automation going on behind the scenes, and minimal actual manual user steps. But those are some topics for future webinars or modules. But perfect. All right, so that takes us through the estimate tool and process. So let's return back to presentation. So these are going to be some frequently asked questions that we get about estimating in our estimator tool. And then after this, we can go and open up the floor to any questions in the chat and discuss those. But first question we usually get is how user-friendly is the system or the estimating tool? And as you saw in the demo, their users have a single login to access the estimating tool in NetSuite / Proscope. And since Proscope is natively built for NetSuite, this is going to make user adoption and training really simple, and also the day-to-day use of the software. And the second question we get is, can you incorporate historical data or lessons learned into the estimating process? And the question for that is yes. We have two options really for automating the estimating process by bringing in saved data. And I'll show you some screenshots of that now. So this is going to be our first, it'll look a little familiar. I mentioned it earlier. It's going to be our template option to upload or to upload items in upload line items in bulk versus line by line. So this is going to be especially useful if you have, common projects that you save different line items for and want to just do a massive upload and make edits. Or this is going to be our second option, which is our copy from existing functionality in our job costing estimator. And this is going to allow you to select past saved projects or estimates to bring in over to your current estimate. So if you have had a similar project or customer that you're creating an estimate for, this is a really efficient and accurate way to leverage that data by pulling relevant info in on your current estimate. Go back to our third question is, can you accommodate varying scales of construction projects? And the answer to that is yes, it's possible to handle large multi-country or even multi-subsidiary projects as well as smaller ones. And then finally is sensitive data relating to estimates and projects secure? And yes, everything is within NetSuite and has the same rigors, safety and security that it has with different levels of user access available. So now I'll open up the floor. If anyone has questions about today's presentation or the demonstration, please feel free to put them in the chat and we can address those. And I think I saw one already. Can you enter your own equipment use in the project versus renting the equipment? Yes, yeah. So if you have your own asset that you own and you want to track that in the estimate, yes, and then you can have designate that it's a rental asset as well. So yeah. Any other questions? I'll give everyone a minute just in case. Take some time to get in the chat. Yeah, so I see another question here. Reporting for the progress of the project. So just to clarify here, we do have project progress report as well as for change order specifically, we have reporting on that as well. And that's really where the activity codes come into play. Since we're reporting or estimating and reporting on those individually, we're able to also see that in from their reporting aspect as well. Yeah, and do we have standard reports and how flexible is it to create your own reports? We do have custom Proscope reports that we've built that are compatible with NetSuite. And also upon implementation, we have the ability to work with your team to customize any reports that with data that's already in NetSuite. So another question here is billing also easy to customize? So I would need some more information in terms of what aspect of billing you're referring to, but we have that's a separate mod, or our AIA billing and invoicing is a separate module. Yeah, billing to a customer. Yeah, so that would still or billing or invoicing. We do support project progress based complete, billing and invoicing, as well as AIA billing. That's a separate module. All right, any final questions? All right. Well, if that's it, then I think that concludes our webinar for today. Thank you so much all for joining. If you do want to find out more or have any follow-up questions for me, my contact information is here, and we'll also be sending out a recording so you can reference that as well. But thank you so much and hope you all have a great day.